You're listening to the Motherhood and the Brain podcast, episode number 49. Today, we are diving into a topic that resonates with many of us. I think I say this on every episode. Especially the moms out there dealing with the emotional turbulence of PMS. How can we approach PMS using your beautiful brain? Because we know the mood shifts are coming. How can we prepare for them before they escalate into snapping and yelling? So imagine for a moment that your life is like a living room. In this living room, there is a strong, immovable pillar. This pillar is there. You can't remove it because the structure of the house depends on that pillar. That pillar supports the house. When you remove it, the house will collapse. So this pillar represents the natural hormonal shifts of PMS. It's always going to be there, but it doesn't have to define the entire space. So the first step is to become aware of the early signs that the mood is changing. In my program, we call this noticing and naming. Perhaps you feel a sense of irritation building or a subtle heaviness that wasn't there before. Maybe your patience is starting to become very slim. Maybe your heart rate increases, you notice some muscle tension, or even a slight headache. These bodily cues are your body's way of saying something is coming. Your thoughts may start to feel scattered or even negative, maybe complaining. You may catch yourself thinking, I can't handle this even before things escalate. Take a moment now and ask yourself, do you recognize these early signals? Being aware of them is the first crucial step in preparing for the mood change. So once you start noticing these signs, the next thing you do is to give them a name. It sounds simple, but it actually helps your brain shift out of the knee-jerk reaction mode and into a more calm thinking space. In my program, we call this naming. It's just putting words to what you are feeling. For example, you could say to yourself, I'm noticing some irritation, or I feel impatient. By simply naming what you feel, you're creating space between the feeling and your reaction. You may ask yourself, what do I do right now? How can I take care of myself in this moment? This very little shift helps your brain focus from the intensity of the emotion to how you can manage it. Naming your feeling or how you feel is like pointing out the pillar in the living room. It doesn't change its existence, but it allows you to work with it rather than against it. In my program, we call this becoming a watcher of your mind. You notice the irritation bubbling up, and instead of trying to shove it away, you just let it be there. Maybe you take a breath and think or verbalize, I'm feeling really impatient right now. You don't have to fix it or make it go away. You just acknowledge it that it is there. You might even sit down for a second, if you can, instead of rushing to react. You may loosen your jaw or unclench your fists and remind yourself, this is just a feeling. It will pass, because feelings pass if we let them. You could picture irritation as a wave that is rising peaking and eventually settling down. The more you let yourself feel the irritation without fighting it, the less power it has over you. Because when you stop fighting the irritation and the impatience or frustration or anger and just let them be there, they lose their grip on you. Instead of reacting from that hot, urgent place, snapping, sighing, eye-rolling, you create space between the feeling and what you do next. And these spaces are very small, so many people just skip over them, but they are very important. The space between noticing that you feel irritation and doing whatever irritation is sending you to do, that space is very small. And in that very small space is our ability to grow, like Dr. Viktor Frankl said. When you do this practice of noticing that you feel irritated, you feel frustrated, you feel annoyed, you feel impatient, just noticing it without doing anything, when you do that, it teaches your brain that discomfort is not an emergency. It is okay to feel impatient without needing to fix or control it right away. And over time, this makes it easier for you to stay calm in those tough moments because you're building the muscle of sitting with hard feelings instead of letting them run the show. And to be honest, this isn't just about keeping yourself sane. It actually helps your relationships too. When you handle those tough moments with a little more calm, you're showing your children what it looks like to deal with frustration, anger, overwhelm, impatience without snapping. And it does not just stop with them. Your spouse, your co-workers, and your friends too benefit. And most of all, you will feel better about yourself. It's like you're setting a tone without even realizing it. So go try it. Let me know what you think. We always have a choice to make, even though sometimes things seem very rushy, like they are happening beyond our control, but we always have some power. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.